Hello everyone, Mark91 here with my first video in my Dungeons and Dragons journal. This is a recording because the first attempt at this failed. Somehow in the options it was switched to don't record audio, so that was kind of an overlook. But every time else I've recorded something with this, the audio was just recorded with it. So I don't know what happened. I didn't switch it off. Maybe with some glitch or so. I've had the microphone plugged in for a long time. I haven't pulled it out since a week ago or so. Yeah, that might have caused it. I don't know. But now to the Dungeons and Dragons bit. Yesterday evening was the first. Was me and my family's younger brother, mother, father, and an aunt. It was our first session of a Dungeons and Dragons basic game, and I plan to make 2 videos per session every time. The first video I'll tell what happened, as in a story or so. Well, not really a story, but I'll just tell what was going on, any things that happened. And in the second video, I'll explain about what the encounters is supposed to be teaching. So let's see. We did 2 encounters of the 6. They get longer every time. And the first one was a simple one. They started out, they had some big doors in front of them. They went up to it. I explained that they could listen at it, they could search it, or they could just plain open it. Well, my brother, who was playing the rogue, he acts first every time. More about that and stuff in the second video. He opened it, went straight through and got an arrow to his face. But I made this mistake there. I should have directly rolled the damage dice, D6. But instead I rolled for an attack. I'll just explain all of the technical stuff in the second video. Yeah, so I made a mistake there, so he came out of it unharmed. He fled back, the coward, to let the other ones fight his battles. He's mainly supposed to be attacking with his bow and arrow, but still, he ran right to the end of where he could, straight into a hallway. I can use these to show where they went, because they played on this. Here it is. The doors were here, in these 2 places. They started out in these 4. And so he opened the door, stepped in, and he saw the goblins that were inside. A goblin warrior over here, and a goblin archer over here. So yeah, he immediately retreated. And yeah, we're not going to let him go on that for the entire game. And I did have them play a bit of role play, so so the other characters didn't really know that there was where the danger was. They know there was danger, seeing as that coward running back with an arrow flying around his head. So yeah, they went in front. It was our very first time, so there was some unconventional things. My mother, for example, played the mage, and she went straight on in the fray. Kinda dumb if you were looking at that when you've got more experience in the game, but she made it out alive. Yeah, then they fought the goblins. The goblin warrior charged in straight forward again to my father, the fighter. They were at this time standing around here. The group was around here. Yeah, it's kind of annoying having to go for it looking at through the camera. They were around here. The goblin warrior was here, and my father was here, the fighter. And the funny thing is, he just couldn't land a hit on it. He just kept failing his attack rolls. So that was kind of funny that he just kept swinging that long sword at the tiny little goblin and it just kept missing and missing. Yeah. Let me think. Uh, then they got rid of the goblin archer, which was over here. Took a bit more time because they had to get to it. My mother used a spell against it, magic missile, got some damage, didn't kill it. Um, yeah, they also looted a chest that was here, and I think they rolled. Well, I think they had a bad roll on their find with that. Well, yeah, the chest was just open. They could just immediately they could search it, try to open it, open it, and then search for treasure. I think they rolled low, a 1 or so, and found nothing. I might be wrong with that. It was just in the evening, and it was pretty late, 7 to 10. So yeah, they got rid of that. Explain a bit about that. I had forgotten some stuff with the Goblin Warrior, that he was supposed to be wearing a medallion. That they should have said that to the one fighting it, the fighter. So the explain some more about what they could do. Immediately, originally they were both planning to just leave it immediately, but I just told what they could have done. They could have investigated the goblin, took the medallion, go back and give the medallion to the Council of Elders, which the story says sent them, but the story in the game is pretty weak, very weak. They got gold, they got experience, and then between the first and second encounter, we went over the things to buy. My father bought a new sword, which instead of rolling one d8 dice for damage, he now rolls two 6 dice, two 6-sided dice. And my mother, the maid, the wizard, elf wizard, she bought a hand crossbow with 10 bolts, so now she has a ranged attack. Okay, that's that for the first encounter. The second encounter, I need these. Yes. In the second encounter, they started up here. Of course, my brother Rogue immediately went forward, and when he got here, I stopped it and placed a goblin which was standing right over here, and a chest right next to it. I should have placed the a goblin archer right here, well, around here, and should have read something out loud. Forgot that. Yeah, they got into battle with the goblin. It went down pretty fast, 4 against 1. The goblin archer lasted the longest, even after the orc mauler ran in from the fray, which the orc mauler was around the corner here. And on the monster's turn, when all 4 adventurers have made their turn, I placed him and made their moves in attacking and such. So yeah, they beat those. Again, my father just hardly could get a hit on any of the monsters. I'm sensing a bit of a vendetta brewing against goblins, since he just can't get them to hit them. Okay. I forgot. These are the Goblin Warrior and the Goblin Archer. Forgot to show those. Okay, the next part, they got to the second area of the second encounter. Normally on the table I would have to lay these like this, so it directly interlinks. But yeah, they got in through here. Here. They had to break down the doors between the areas because the rogue failed his open lock, so they had to bash it. The third attempt was the final attempt, a bit funny. With breaking down doors, I'll explain this right here. You have a main attack, well, a main basher, I'll say it, and two helpers. Those helpers need to roll the 20-sided dice and get 15 or higher. And for each one of them that makes that roll, the main basher gets a +2 bonus to his roll because he needs to roll a 20. Well, they just kept failing on that roll, those rolls. I believe one assistant, I don't remember who got their roll, but still it wasn't enough to break down the door. And on the third roll, after the helpers rolled, my father, who was the main basher, rolled the dice and he rolled a clean 20. So they broke down the door, got in here, and then I got started to new things. They'd listened at the door before, so they heard something behind. They heard a woman singing. I'll place this radio over. So yeah, they got in there, and then a spell took effect. Well, they had to roll a saving throw for a spell, a charming spell, because the harpy has the special ability from a captivating song, which charms the adventurers and makes them walk towards her until they are right next to it, and then the harpy gets a free attack on them. So yeah, they got in. My father and the fighter and the cleric got caught under the spell, so they were both charmed. Then I had to roll to see which way they went, over the rocks or through the water. Well, my father had to go through the water, and then he had to roll another saving throw against cold, because the water is extremely cold and will damage for every square you move through it. So yeah, he failed that, got a bit hurt, and then yes, before the fighter comes the rogue and the mage, they just had their turns controlled by the who was playing them, my younger brother and my mother. But for the fighter and the dwarf, I would take control until the spell was broken. So yeah, my father waiting through there, and then the cleric was on turn, my aunt. He had to go over the rocks because of the roll. I had to roll the d6. 1 to 3 was through the water. 4 to 6 was over the rocks. The rocks are an obstacle in that they slow down whoever walks over them. Instead of, well, for example, the rogue can make 6 steps in total, but over the rocks he can only make 3 steps, because for every rocky square you count as if you were walking 2 squares. So yeah, they started getting closer. Next turn my father got over here. I didn't move the harpy because it didn't know they were there. It couldn't see them. My father ended up here, right in the line of sight of the harpy. On his turn, rogue and mage just walked closer over here, slowed down by the rocks. Cleric also moved forward under this charm, and then the harpy was on turn, and she just went straight through to the fighter, and immediately got her free attack on him. Dealt some damage, he lived, and then then it was their turn again. They moved in, attacked. Because the fighter was attacked, the spell on him was broken. They dealt some damage. Cleric was still under the spell. Next turn, well, no, he broke from the spell, or she broke from the spell. My aunt was playing it, and I'm getting very close to the time limit. Next turn, almost the entire party got caught under the spell, but it didn't have a lot of work. Only the wizard resisted. She used a buffing spell on the fighter. The harpy attacked the fighter, freeing him from the spell. On his turn, he just slew it. He just killed it. And then they went for 2 chests over here, 1 open, 1 trapped. They dodged the trap. So yeah, that's our first session. Next video I'll go over the technical stuff from this session. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was informative. I hope you enjoyed listening to me just ranting on here. Not ranting, I'm explaining and talking, but I'm to this time limit I'm just talking faster now. Hopefully it's still understandable. So yeah, thank you for watching. See you next time. Until then, have a nice day and goodbye.